into the party wagon and hold on to your pizza.
Welcome to Epic Tales from the Sewers. Hopefully, your favorite place to catch news and interviews and comic readings, all for Ninja Turtles. I am your most excellent host, Justin, with my most excellent co-host on this side, Mr. Eric Will.
Oh, hi, Justin. How are you?
I'm great, man. We got some great guests today, so I want to just welcome everybody to the live stream. In case you haven't seen us before, this is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show, not to freak you out. So, our guests joining us today are a couple of artists that you may have seen collaborate on a recent variant cover for TMNT number 147. Joining us for the first time on the show, he's a writer, artist, and colorist who has worked on Dynamite Comics, Pathfinder Wake the Dead, Josie and the Pussycats, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, Jungle Drama from Keen Spot Comics, as well as his creator-owned series, Rebel Grrrls, or maybe it's Girls. Mr. Danny Harrell.
Hey.
Much ado. So, thanks for joining us, Danny.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have you. And thanks for being here in the first time. So
yeah, awesome. It's going to be fun.
Next up, making his third appearance on the podcast, he is the artist who holds the record for the most times mentioned on this show, the talented Viking warrior from the north who has brought us the art from the book Dodge and so many memorable covers from The Last Ronin. He is the former Granite State sketch-off champion and the current #1 contender for said honor, Mr. Mike Rooth.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. That's quite the intro.
That's it. That's all we had time for today. So thanks, everybody, for joining us on Epic Tales from the Sewers. We have Danny Harrell and Mike Rooth with Eric, Will, and myself, and we're going to be talking about some turtle stuff. So it's been a little while from Granite State, Mike. What have you been working on?
Actually, yeah, it's just been a kind of a crazy whirlwind since Granite State. I've been working on Dodge art fulfillment. I've been working on just kind of tidying up the Kickstarter and that kind of stuff, and getting all those surveys out, and it's just all that stuff, all those invisible hours that add up. And I've been working on a couple of different projects, Danny and I have had a couple of ideas about some properties we wanted to tackle. Obviously, last couple of years, Danny's been coloring some of my stuff. He's does the most amazing clean flats on my work. It speeds up my process so much faster, so I can spend so much more time drawing, or it means that I can spend more time rendering the actual artwork because I know when I send it to Danny, it's in good hands. Even if he's just doing the flats for me, I get that stuff back and I can render it with my own weird ways of doing things. But I've seen Danny's skill set just rise this last couple of years, doing all these different things and projects. Did a beautiful job coloring pages of Dodge that you'll get to see. He did the wraparound cover for last year's Dodge comic, Dodge issue 3.
Yeah.
And he colored the Pathfinder Wake the Dead cover. And it was just like that job would have taken me 2 days to flat. And Danny sent it to me in about, I think, 6 hours, and it was done.
Oh, wow.
And it was clean and it was beautiful. Probably did it in 3 hours. I don't know, but
did he use your trademark cadmium yellow?
No, it didn't have the cadmium yellow. I think I did end up painting that in the background, though. Eventually, that's my secret weapon for sure. But yeah, no, it's been a great collaboration. We had a lot of fun, and I was at an event here in Canada, just about an hour from here, in a town called Newmarket, at an amazing comic shop and grill, like bar and grill, called Wayside Comics and Cocktails, and they're having an awesome event every Saturday. But yeah, I got a chance to debut our cover, and I got a pretty good response, man. I had a really solid day. Oh, you already got yours? Nice. Oh yeah, with the
we all got one. So,
look at
that, Danny. You got one?
Yeah, Danny probably has a few hanging around his house too. So.
Danny, this one's for you at Granite to do.
Nice. Oh yeah,
right. It's fantastic. Such a great cover, and I mean a Donatello-centric cover for probably a Donatello-centric story. I haven't read it yet because I'm not going to open that one. But man, this must have really set those Donatello fans afire. Finally,
yeah, I mean,
as they say.
I hoped it would. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a Donnie guy, really, but it was funny. Well, I was in that panel with you guys, and we asked the crowd, "Who's your favorite turtle?" And overwhelmingly, it was Donatello. So I thought,
Isn't that weird? Yeah,
Mhm.
it was crazy.
it was really not expected. I was really expecting a heavy Raphael. Yeah.
I mean, you're at a Comic-Con, so most people kind of relate to their favorite turtles, the one they kind of relate to, and you're in a group of nerds. So
That's true.
you know,
Yeah.
That's very fair, and
yeah.
I totally can understand those sentiments. I just know as soon as I saw it, I shared it in a Donatello group that I'm in, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great! Where do I get it?" Because there is always that feeling like, "Oh, there's never enough of my favorite," except for
Yeah.
Raph. Like Raph is always out there.
Yeah.
So that's definitely true. But
Yeah.
man,
Well,
it was crazy
the
when I saw
current
it.
run of the comics, the current run of the comics is really giving Donatello a cool story arc. Like he's kind of front and center in this most recent comic series, and it's really good.
I agree. I
I'm
like it.
excited to see what they're going to do to kind of finish it off at 150.
Mm-hmm.
We'll come back to that piece, but I did want to ask as kind of a writer, Danny, when it comes to like Ninja Turtles and stuff, do you think that maybe Donatello is a little bit easier to write for, and maybe Raph is easy to write for? Because I've always thought that Mikey and Leo were the two toughest to write. What's your take on this?
I don't know. I would think. I mean, for me, I think Raph would be easiest because that's the one that that's always kind of been my favorite, and just because he's just kind of a smart ass, and so am I. So that. But I don't know. I think Leonardo would be the hardest to write for. I think Michelangelo would be. I think he would be a lot more fun, at least for me. I think Raph and Mikey would be easier to write than Donnie and Leo. But because Donnie, you almost feel like you have to have a lot.
He's like
more,
an exposition dumper,
Yeah, you kind of have to have a lot more detail and like scientific detail to make him seem like himself, if that makes any sense.
It reminds me of Trek, like what they used to do with like, oh, there's this big science thing, and we explain the science thing, and it's just like words that we make up and throw out there. You can almost like insert that techno babble or whatever with Donatello, and it's like, okay. And technically in the IDW series, he's the one that always comes up with the plans. So and Leo's just like, all right, guys, you go over there, and we'll do Donatello's plan. So it's kind of like that. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and I wonder if there's statistics out there that shows how much they talked each, because I'm sure Michelangelo would come in the least. So just interesting. I don't know. I hadn't thought about that till you guys said something. So I guess that's
I don't know. I think it was kind of the IDW series was kind of Michelangelo heavy during the Mutanimals storyline. So he was kind of around a lot more in that run than the other turtles. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm sure that someone on the internet has put together a word count for every issue or something. It's the internet. Somebody's
probably
something all the time. Yeah,
I bet we know them too. It's like
Yeah.
it's gonna be no surprise to be like, oh, John did that. Yeah, that doesn't shock me. It's that's pretty crazy. So we were talking about Granite State and all of that with Mike. Danny, can you talk to us a little bit about kind of what you've been up to, what you're working on? Because I definitely want to dive into your new project, but maybe you could tell us just kind of like your history with comics, how you got started, and just give us your origin story.
Yeah, I think I started out just kind of drawing for fun around the house, and I went to school for photography, so I was in the or photography and journalism, but I was in the art department for a while, and so did a little bit of graphic design and digital media, but not a lot. And probably in the last 3 years, I would say, I just started focusing more on. I wanted to learn to do more with digital art because it seemed like that's what everything was going to, and I just kind of fell in love with the coloring process and kind of got fixated on that and wanted to learn more about coloring than anything else. But then I started thinking like I need to get something out into the world to help to drum up some other jobs. And so that's when I started writing Rebel Grrrls and put that script together. And originally what started out as the first script that I wrote was just an idea that Mike and I had of just kind of a, fan fiction type thing to try and pitch to get a series, to get an issue of a series of a comic that we both liked. And so that was kind of my introduction into writing the comic, writing in the format of a comic script. And but then I decided I needed to get something out to try and get some work. So I wrote the first issue of Rebel Grrrls and started pitching it around, and started working with Robert Ahmad. He's an artist from in the UK, and we started working on that series. And from that point on, it's just kind of been a steady flow of things coming in that I've had the chance to work on. And Rebel Grrrls is almost finished with the first story arc, so it'll go to graphic novel before long. We're working on issue 4 right now, and so that we can get the collected edition out there. And that's been the goal for that series, was to tell a complete story. And I knew I wanted to do it in 4 issues. And so we're halfway through the 4th issue now. And after that, it'll come out. The 4th issue will be released, and then we'll start looking at doing a trade paperback or a hardcover. It may go to Kickstarter for the graphic novel. I haven't decided yet, but we may do that to help with some of the cost of producing a graphic novel.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's cost of paper and binding and printers and all of that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right now, Keenspot, they handle all of that, so I haven't had to get into actually printing and shipping the books. They take care of all that through Diamond, and it's done pretty well. The series has, and then I did Jungle Drama with Troy Dungera and Eric Marshall. I think they're working on a 2nd issue of that right now.
Jungle Drama, folks. So Jungle Drama to me is very reminiscent of a Betty and Veronica story, but in the jungle, kind of like that. Incredible fun. I enjoyed the heck out of reading it. You included one with my 147. I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I would definitely read that. Rebel Grrrls. So it's interesting because if you're into kind of punk culture, rock culture, kind of a similar vibe of the only thing I can think of to kind of like put it is like it's Josie and the Pussycats with an edge, but really it's more like the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo, like kind of like a real sarcastic group of young women that have a band, and they appear to be maybe I should let you tell it, but just from my perspective, it's pretty cool. It's got like a really hardcore vibe to it that's kept light with the dialogue. What's kind of the concept, and maybe you could walk us through like who would be the ideal fan for this book besides me, obviously.
It's the story it follows a group of girls who were cursed from birth to be able to resurrect the dead and conjure ghosts through their music whenever they play together. Sort of a plan from Satan herself to have them do this. And so they're being pursued by a record label executive, or a demon that Satan has sent in the form of a record label executive to try and get them to sell their souls to the devil. And they want nothing of it because they don't want to sell out.
Yeah.
So, I always tell people it's kind of Josie and the Pussycats and Sabrina, but with a lot of F-bombs. So,
Yeah, I think I counted like just a lot going through. I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, she called him a chode. I'm like, all right. It kind of sneaks up on you, and I'm like, oh, this is hilarious. And the idea that they are not at all phased by, they're like, oh, who showed up at our show? They're like, oh, one guy besides those 2 ghosts that are over there doing this. They're not phased whatsoever by the fact that they have ghosts and all that in the crowd of where they're playing. You know?
Yeah, I didn't want to have the ghost be kind of something that they were fixated on, kind of just they've been seeing them all their lives, and so it's not a big thing to them, and could be to other people. In some of the later issues, there's more people like dying at shows because of the ghost and zombies and things, and but me and Robert, we have a lot of fun making the book.
I can see that. It's interesting too because it's got like some psychological layers to it as well, and I would definitely recommend it. I've read issues 1 and 2. I believe
Same.
Eric, you did as well. So
Yep.
going through, I'm like, oh wow, you're actually getting into like this could work on a superficial level, like absolutely, and you could just keep it light. But then it's like, hey, there's some actual trauma going on here, and this tells you about the characters and why they are the way they are a little bit. And I was like, wow, I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. Like I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it started out as just a way to try and tell some funny stories from the days that I spent playing music around the Southeast, and just the odd people that we ran into, and odd stories that we had from shows. And then it just turned into what it is. It kind of morphs from just being, kind of a comedy series to tell a few stories that I've been telling to friends for years about playing music in the South. And then it turned into a little bit more than that. And I wanted to have kind of the going to the crossroads to sell your soul to the devil type thing. But issue 4 will hopefully wrap up some of the storyline, and it opens things up to where if we get to keep doing the book, then for a volume 2, I have a few ideas for some one-shots in between volume 1 and volume 2, but we'll see how that goes. It's a pricey book to produce, even with doing a lot of the work myself. I do the writing and coloring and lettering on it, and it costs a lot to make a comic. So we'll see how it goes whenever it goes to trade paperback, especially because that kind of opens you up to a lot more vendors, because you're opened up to some of the bigger box stores like Amazon and Target and Books A Million, places like that. So
that makes sense. Yeah.
And all the material is produced by the time you get to the graphic novel. So you've already got all the pages done. So
lower overhead at that point because it's all the work's done.
The nice thing about having the graphic novel format too is that that's an easy sell. That's an entire story, and you can sell it for a reasonable price. And I think it's a beautiful thing. I mean, seeing this thing come together, I've had the great privilege of being able to sit quietly in the background cheering this on while it was happening, and like Danny touched on earlier, we had this other property that we wanted to pitch to, or we had a project in mind for that we thought we'd even Kickstarter it, and if it was successful, then maybe the publisher in question wouldn't have the option to turn us down if it went well enough. But he ended up writing something that we at some point realized we could actually change it so that if it could just be an original character and it would still work.
Yeah.
And Danny slapped this story together so quickly, but it was so complete. Even in its early rough stages, it was just a really fully developed story. And for a guy who just sat down and said, well, I'm going to try to write this, because we had this idea we were jamming out, and he just went at it. And then, and I was like, holy shit, man, you wrote a whole comic book and it's really good. So it just kind of went from there, now we are actually going to take that thing and develop something else. So I don't know. Yeah. We're not in a position where we can show or talk about anything yet, and we don't want to spoil it because, quite frankly, it's original and cool. And while it would have worked very well for the property that we had intentioned it for, it's going to work even better for us, I think.
Yeah. So we'll have that coming out.
Mike is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, we're going to work on that book together. Mike and I are, and then we'll see where it goes. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be. There's just a lot of sequences in it that I can't wait to see what Mike does with them.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Lots of cool visuals, and I'm looking forward to what's very often my favorite part of the project, which is the character design and
cool,
and all that kind of stuff. I love that, and we want to, I got some ideas in my head, but it's one of those things where it's like I see it, but I see it in that same way that when you're looking at a lump of clay, you can see what it might become. But I'm seeing it a little bit more clearer each day. I just haven't had the time to sit down and get the wheels under me to do it, just because there's been a lot of stuff going on. But and we got you guys saw that teaser the other day. I mean, if you haven't guessed what it is, that's okay. Nothing, no judgment. It's going to be pretty cool though, and hopefully we're going to get to reveal that soon. Some other guys have already had a chance to reveal those. I'm not sure why, but we were told explicitly, there's going to be a nice reveal from the publisher of all the different variant covers, and that we'd be allowed to share a teaser if we wanted to. I think Danny selected a perfect crop mark to tease.
I did see that. I did catch that. I just want to point out,
is it Old Yeller?
It's Old Yeller. Yeah, that's
just
they cannot confirm nor deny. Because of the mouse.
It does have the word "dick" in the title.
It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. It's in the title. So
that was what my first idea for a tease was, just to crop the logo to where it just said "dick" and that be our tease. But then we decided to go a different route.
Well, that's great. Mike, why don't you tell us what you're drawing? Because I can see it, but for the listeners, let them know.
Oh yeah, I'm just I've got a copy of this this sketchbook that I made, which some of you guys have. I think all of you guys have one.
Oh, definitely.
And this is the blue version of it, which is the convention version, which just had a little sketch window on the back. And it is Savage Sword of Sunday today, so I thought I would. I'm on a Turtles podcast. It's not the appropriate place to draw Conan, but I'm gonna kind of meet it halfway somewhere.
It kind of looks like the main cover of Conan the Barbarian, the film.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or Destroyer, maybe. Yeah, he's got the Destroyer headband on. But
oh yeah, yep.
So I just wanted to go back to 147 for a second because like I just want to say, like, Danny colored this whole thing. The only elements that I really added to it were just some of the things that I do for transparencies to get glass. Like, there's different ways to do things like glass effects and see-through effects. But man, like, we were working on this together, and Danny, I was going to show you guys. This is actually a really cool little artifact, which you guys might appreciate. All of the projects that I've worked on with Danny so far, and the stuff that I've worked on for the Turtles Palladium game, the role-playing game and stuff, is all in this little thumb book, little sketches, little things. And I struggled and sent sketch after scrambled sketch to Danny. All this scribbled nonsense, trying to come up with a pose, trying to come up with a thing, because Danny had this great idea of Donatello, using the bow and kind of like ripping these holes through the space-time, like throwing big, like opening portals, and like having these windows opening up on the, like, showing different turtle stuff. And we just kind of kept playing along those ideas, and I just got a little bit closer with this sketch, a little bit closer with this sketch, and then I was trying to work out the right pose, and the process was awesome. Anyway, it was really, really cool. So
yeah, look at that.
And when it came to colors, in very short time, Danny had this thing put together, and yeah, it was. I couldn't believe how it came out. Right down to the rivets in Donatello's head shell. So
this right here, if you get a chance to, Justin, look down in here with his, like, where the glass is and Donnie's foot right there. I don't know if you can see that, like how he, like, that's freaking.
Oh, just slightly see.
Oh yeah, you
can slightly see his foot through the glass.
So he's busting out of an hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there seemed to be some kind of time-related elements to the story, right? So it just felt like,
the story is definitely about a lot of time travel right now in this current run, and they've done a really good job with it. Like, there's been some ups and downs with the IDW series recently, but this is definitely, I think it's one of the best things that they've done, the best story that they've done since 100. The first 100 issues of the IDW series is, I think, some of the best turtle stories that's ever been told. Like just the way that they did it, and I'm a huge fan. I've been buying them ever since the first issue of the IDW series came out, and all of the tie-ins work perfectly, and it's been a really good series. And I've enjoyed the issues from 101 through where they're at now. But there's this series is probably my favorite in that 101 to
the post Armageddon game. The Armagon, I guess, the Road to 150, we call it.
Yeah.
What I was just gonna say, what a cool character, Armagon. What an awesome. And I'll be honest with you, as like an old time Turtles guy, I actually didn't know who Armagon was. And then the weirdest thing happened last weekend. I went to visit my family to go watch the Royal Rumble, and my brother had the Super Nintendo set up, and he had the tournament fighters, TMNT tournament fighters. And isn't Armagon a shark man in that game, like a Street Fighter style game? I was like, this is crazy, because he's a cool character. And
you're like, I've got to draw that guy. Yes,
I've got to draw that guy eventually. So
they've done the design. The design of him in this current story is really cool too. Just where he's almost like he's just red energy with a bunch of turbines and tubes and wires and like, it's really cool the way that they've done it, and
really monstrous and crazy looking. Yep.
Yeah. Like I remembered him from watching some of the 2012 series where Ron Perlman voiced the character, and then he was just like a space bounty hunter, and I always thought it was funny that he was a shark wearing a metal shark exterior suit. He was like a shark in a shark, and it was such a weird design.
He could fly in space, I think, because of that. It was. But if anyone doesn't know just what they're talking about, like the cool part of this whole arc is that there's a shark that exists because it was a megalodon from prehistory. And Donatello opens a portal. The megalodon attacks at that point, gets stuck in the portal, and heads through some sort of time thing, mutates it, makes it into this huge monster. So essentially, creating the creature that will become Armagon, who is going to bring about the end of the world, all created by Donatello. And there's big problems because of this. So this is a big deal.
And the shark is traveling through, it's jumping from one time stream to the next so that it can collect all of this like space technology from the Null Corporation, the Red Devil Lady. Like, and so they've kind of tied back into that. And those were some kind of cool storylines with Null and I can't remember the snake, the cobra that works with her. I can't remember her name.
And the other one, the scorpion. I can't remember them either. So, so some of the listeners would know. I imagine. I just can't pull them up. But they were mainly featured from the TMNT Universe series.
Yeah,
which kind of focused on a lot of that, and it's very, very cool stuff. And I'm with you. I enjoy it. I love reading these books. And it's great too, because you go to the store maybe about 2 months ago and there'd be 4 Turtles books, Saturday Morning Adventures, Lost Years. You've got IDW series and Asagi Yojimbo and the Street Fighter crossover. You're like, wow, this is the heyday, guys. It's
it's definitely a good time to be a Turtles fan for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, the 40th anniversary is popping up here soon. I mean,
So earlier today, I was filing away or putting some stuff in some boxes, the newer TMNT series that I'd gotten out just kind of for some references for the cover that Mike and I are working on now. And I came across this in one of the boxes. It's a Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a German Ninja Turtles book.
I don't know where Biohazard. Hi.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember where I got this. I've had it for probably like 25 years. But
wow.
It's from the UK, it looks like. So
yeah, it's from Germany.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's a German version. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know where I found that. I found it in a box at some comic shop at some point. But yeah, I found that one, and then I also found this. This is one of my favorite covers. Was the issue 70 of the Mirage series.
Oh
this
man,
is,
that's wicked.
Yeah, this one is.
That's actually pretty tough to find, I think.
Yeah, I think that this one only had like 1,500 copies. It was the last book that Mirage ever printed.
Oh shit!
And yeah, I had this on my pull list because I really love the Tales of the TMNT series that Mirage did, and I had it on my pull list, so I got it at cover price when it came out, and just kind of forgot about it. But yeah, I think they're fetching a good bit of money now because I think there was only like either 12 or 1,500 copies. There was no overprinting or anything because Nickelodeon or Paramount, I guess, had already bought the rights to the Turtles, and they were just putting that issue out because I think that one was Jim Lawson and Eric Talbot.
I could tell by looking at the cover.
But
I'm like,
because the Tales of TMNT was, yeah, I think it was those two, and then
Dan Berger was the editing.
A lot of the stuff too. Yeah, yeah, I really liked that series. It just had a lot of really interesting stories, and there were the same core group of artists, but it wasn't the same artists for every issue. And yeah, that was one of my favorite Turtle series that they had released, especially like from the Mirage days. And it was the last. I think they really had just kind of had everything dialed in on that series. And but
you
anyway,
seem to be pretty knowledgeable in TMNT lore there, Danny. What got you into Turtles in the first place? Like, what's your how did you get in? Was it the toys, the comics?
It was originally the first Turtle stuff that I seen was the Fred Wolf cartoon, the late 80s cartoon. And then from that point, the first comic that I ever bought was a copy of Ninja Turtles #3. And I didn't get it whenever it came out. I got it at a flea market and just read the thing so many times that it was just falling apart. And that was kind of the spark that got me into it. But I've been buying, like, I can't remember a time when I wasn't getting Turtles comic books. I've just been into them for years. I've got, I think, 2 long boxes and like 2 or 3 short boxes that are nothing but Turtles books. And yeah, I've been buying them forever and reading them. Just always kind of enjoyed it. A lot of first, I guess, for me, like the first comic that I ever bought, the first movie that I ever went to the theater to see was the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Damn.
And, yeah. And so
you're steeped in it then, aren't you?
Yeah, I've just been into it. That was my thing whenever I was a kid, and just kind of hyper focused on that one thing, Ninja Turtles and Batman. And
one of us.
Exactly. Gobble gobble.
Thing. I mean, I like Turtles too.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
You may actually have some pretty good insight for us then on this. So being a colorist for it, is there? And I asked this question to Steve Levine, so I'm curious. Is there a specific tone or color for the Turtles that you go to? Or do you pull from other places? Do you have your own influences on it? What's your take on the coloration of the Turtles themselves?
I always, like, my go-to is I always want to color them the way that the first series of toys were colored.
The Playmates ones, okay.
Yeah, I just always liked the colors that they did, where they gave them slight variations. But like for the 147 cover, I just kind of went with what had been in the comics recently, the shades, and they're all similar, but
maybe
I don't
Mikey's
have like
a little darker.
Set.
Well, and these guys are actually set back in the shadows a little bit too, right? Like Ghani's stepping forward, so the other Turtles are kind of knocked back. We actually deliberately knocked them back in tone a little bit, but yeah, the colors are actually different. Like it's hard to tell on the camera, but yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that because there's kind of like that deeper green for Michelangelo, and there's a difference between Raph and Leo and Donnie, and Donnie's
always that kind of muddy, like darker, like brownish green color.
Yeah. He's like that kind of.
I love that purple though. Yeah.
Like Michelangelo always has like a kind of toxic looking, like really saturated looking green. It's like a blue green color. But I guess Raph is probably the closest thing to being like just a green color. Like
we got 2003.
Yeah, 2003. I've got some of the 2003 and 2012 figures. I'm giving them to my kids to play with now.
Oh yeah.
But I've got in the attic. I've got the either 12 or 14 inch that they did the re-release of in 2003. I've got those in the attic. I need to get those out, put them on a shelf or something. But
is that the one that I sent you?
Yep. They all live here by the desk. All of them do. I got some weird ones too, man.
I'm always tempted every time we go to Target. They've got the black and white Usagi, the NECA figure, and I'm always tempted to get that, but it's like $45. And
yeah, it's a nice figure though. I know which one you mean. I've seen that one.
Yeah,
I wanted to get the black and red Last Ronin variant figure. I thought that.
Yeah, I've got that one.
Have you? Yeah, that one's really cool.
Yeah, I picked that one up. I've got that one, and I've got the armored version of the regular Last Ronin figure. I don't have the unarmored one, but I kind of want to get the Raphael and the Karai. But I probably won't get any more of the others.
So this is my newest one. I'll show you guys. The Raphael is right here.
Oh yeah,
this is.
Nice.
I was posting about this. It's all Ben Bishop design. It's incredibly detailed. The face. I don't know if you could see the face there. The hands, the feet, everything, like the wraps for the legs. This is one of the best. Yeah, the size are great. Actually, kind of looks like the size that you draw, Mike. So, but because they're long.
NECA makes just fantastic figures.
So
I've gotten my 8-year-old a few years ago. He was really into Gremlins, and for Christmas, that's all he wanted was Gremlin stuff. And the only thing I could find was the NECA figures, and I got him some of those, and they're so just incredibly detailed down to every last little small detail. Like they're really nice figures, and I've gotten one of their Alien figures as well. But always want to get the Super 7 Ultimates whenever they
you should
do those. But every time that they have a Turtles or a Conan, I always think about it. But I have so much Super 7 stuff. I buy the Super 7 reaction figures. That's my, when it comes to toy collecting, that's what I end up going after is the 3-inch or 3.75 inch Super 7. And they're actually doing they've got Conan figures coming out soon. So
oh my god.
Gonna have to get those. And but there's some of the music figures that I get, and then whenever they have something like Conan or anything that they do with Phantom Starkiller, I'll buy one of those, or any of like the Healy made stuff. Yeah, the Cliff Burton's cool.
Oh, that's cool.
I've been buying. They've got some really cool Motorhead figures. Like they've got Lemmy, and then they've got some of the cover art that they've turned into figures, and
like the engine.
I've got this one here, man. A fan brought me this in Toronto. Blew my mind when I got this one, man.
Yeah, those are awesome.
The War Pig, man. I love it. It's so great. I would literally wear that would be my helmet if I was a pro wrestler. I'd be wearing that.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I buy anytime that they've been like slowly releasing all the members of the Wu-Tang Clan. So I've been buying those figures as they come out. And they've only done 3 so far, but they've done a few different versions of ODB, and then a couple of different versions of RZA's character. His is like Bobby Digital, and then they did Ghostface Killer recently. And but those 375 figures are they're just a lot of fun to collect. And I've got some of the turtle stuff that they've done with those, but by the time I started collecting them, there was so much of the turtle stuff out there. I was like, yeah, I'll never be able to afford to catch up. But
yeah, there's
actually
too much.
So I have a Godzilla.
Oh yeah,
the remake of those.
The Super 7 stuff is awesome. I'm a big fan.
I had the full size Godzilla like that one.
Really?
I think I still have it somewhere, actually. Somewhere around here. It's missing its fist, though. The fist used to shoot out.
Yeah, they did a Super 7 did a remake of that one with their Super 7 Ultimates after they did the 375 figure, and it had the fist that would shoot off, and it was really cool.
That's amazing.
I keep hoping that Super 7 will make some Red Sonja figures, but they haven't yet. But there's a couple of Sonja figures out now that I would like to get, but it's hard to drop like $100 on.
I saw that the Dynamite one that just came out.
Yeah,
like that big old axe. That thing was crazy.
Yeah. I wish I had.
I could see that April O'Neil as Red Sonja.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
Somebody actually made one. Like, where did I see? I think I saw it on Facebook on one of the turtle groups that somebody had been sculpting a Barbarian April, and it just looked like April as Red Sonja.
Yeah, it
was it in Party Wagon?
Hang on, let me go check on IDW because I know the guy posted in IDW and it was like a Mystique type thing.
You guys seen the Masters of the Universe turtle stuff?
We have, yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
They had the one that was it was a Mouser crossed with one of the Horde figures. They had
with
one of those
Target
yesterday.
Yeah. Oh damn! Yeah, that's basically a Red Sonja action figure. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's it. It's just as many books out there as action figures now. And we 2 episodes ago we were talking with Gary Dolan from the Party Wagon and from Bull Airs, and we were talking with some other guests, and they had talked about, everybody talks about their favorite action figure, and I mean, so many of them, it's like NECA and Super 7, and most of us went with our favorite of the year was a Super 7 figure. And I think they picked the Super 7 Space Age Raph, which was a remake of that action figure. And I picked the Sewer Surfing Mikey, which I think is one of the coolest figures. And I'm not a Mikey guy, but that is like one of the best figures I think ever. Yeah,
I really wanted that Party Wagon that Super 7 did.
Ooh, yeah.
The one that was like $600, but man, it looks so awesome in person, like, or in the videos whenever they were showing it, like it was so detailed. But anything with the turtle van or bus, like I think I always say that the issue 3 of Ninja Turtles was kind of the spark that got me into TMNT, but I think it was also the spark that got me into VW buses. So
nice.
Yeah, it's another. I have 3, but yeah,
that's crazy.
One of them is a future project, but one of them is it's got a patinaed exterior, but it's basically a brand new car up under the bottom, and then another has been a project that's going to be my retirement project. I've got almost all the metal work finished on it, but it's going to be it's a palm green, sand green bus. So I want to take a few different things and have different Turtles artists like do sketches on like maybe the sun visors or the fresh air box that's above the cab. There's a piece of just flat metal that can be taken off, and I think it would be cool to get some stuff like that. Just
can you share with us who you would ask for this project?
Just anybody that I could like. It would be cool to take something like that to Granite and just get a bunch of people to sign it.
Who wouldn't want to be a part of that too? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that screams Steve Levine to me, by the way. So like, it's like he'd be like, "Yeah, man."
But once I get some of the stuff with like the pieces of metal and everything, I want to wait until the bus is finished and painted before I do anything like that. But there are some little things that could be, I guess, shipped up there, I wouldn't be able to bring them on a plane with me because they'd be like, "What are you doing with a sun visor from a bus with a metal rod in it?"
Well, you guys all saw Dungeon Rob's gigantic check.
Yes.
Yeah.
With all the sketches on it. It's a pretty cool thing to see it all rolled out and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this would be great to see something like that and to get
that sounds awesome. Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun.
That sounds super cool.
That's been the plan.
I've been working on my remarks too, by the way, at work.
So. Oh, that's what you're doing here?
Well, I see, like at work, like we like had to put like our name on our drink and stuff, so that way they don't throw it away. So usually I have like my little container that has just turtles on it, and then sometimes I'll get like water, and then I'll just put like a turtle head on it, and everybody knows that's mine because obviously I love turtles. So everybody knows that it's mine. So I've been working on my turtle head remark game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always have random sheets of paper at work. Anytime I'm on a conference call or anything, like I can't focus if I'm just sitting there and listening and talking. So I'm just it's almost like nervous energy, just sketching on Post-it notes and backs of paper. And yeah, pretty much every time we get off of a conference call, there'll be somebody in the office like, "What were you drawing this time?" Like
Rebel Grrrls.
I drew Conan. Sorry. That's awesome.
That's crazy. So going back, so you're obviously a really big Godzilla fan, and you're obviously a really big Godzilla fan. When's the pitch to IDW where you guys can do a Turtles Godzilla crossover?
That would be fun.
Yeah, I'm going for it, bro.
How about a Conan and Turtles?
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, Leo.
A barbarian.
Turtles take to be fun. Yeah. Trapped in time or something like that. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with the new. The new relaunch and stuff. I'm curious. It's exciting.
Yeah, and I think that our 147 cover, it had something to do with this relaunch because we put a shard of glass in the shape of Alabama, and the next thing you know, they're hiring Jason Aaron. So
that's it. That's it.
All of the turtles have been scalped. So
did you guys notice that on the 147 in the bottom left corner?
I remember that you mentioned something about it.
That standout.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, of Alabama. So,
jeez! Any closer, it could have bit me.
I wanted to give him a little spot to sign his name, and then there's a corresponding spot on the right for me to sign my name, and then we each had a window to do a little remark in as well. So they've been fun, man. They've been fun.
Oh, that's!
I can't wait to sit and draw some at Granite, and it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited about Granite. I've never been to that con, so it's going to be.
Are you sitting with us or are you sitting with Mike? That's the question. So
I'm sitting wherever they set my table up, I guess.
Yeah.
we will be there. We're registered. We got the hotel room, everything. So we're going to be there.
Man. Hey, I'm going to tell you, man, like me and him, we went up there. We had a blast. It was definitely a different experience. I'm so used to being on the other side, just going to a con for a few hours and just being there, but being a part of it and sitting down and, breaking bread with Mike Rooth. Like we've had Mike Rooth. I've did streams with Rooth, and then obviously, when things are getting sketchy, obviously here, we've done all that. But actually to sit down and have dinner with these people and having breakfast with them and all that stuff. I mean, it's
man.
It's different because we get to know them, but we get to know them in person a little bit more. So
you guys had to meet Peter.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, man. I won't forget that. That was
no. I mean that will always be like one of those big memories. Being a part of being a con. Up there, especially with. I mean, we got to sit down next to Steve Levine and and his wife and stuff, and talk to them. Awesome. And Freddie Williams. I mean,
Yep.
Like
We saw Anson Williams and Ralph Malph over in the corner having dinner. You know?
yeah, I mean, it's just
It was
like,
just a real Happy Days sort of experience.
That's
Awesome.
true.
like I said, to me, it was a completely different feeling just being, because I'm so used to like, well, this year is going to be different. Kevin Easton's going to be there. Tom Waltz is going to be there. The brothers are going to be there. Of course, hanging out with Ben, like I met Ben down in Lexington, so I was on the other side. And then, we got to hang out with Ben while we were at Granite, quite a few times, like outside of the con. You know what I'm saying? So it was like kind of a like different experience, and like picking his brain and just sitting down, just talking to him, having a good time, like with everybody.
We learned the history of chicken tenders.
Yeah.
It apparently originated up in the bar right near Granite State. I did not know this. So yeah,
the more you know.
Yeah, the more you know, everybody. So yeah, I think it's gonna be awesome. So you guys are working together on some ideas. Are we allowed to maybe ask you? Do you have anything else coming up for Ninja Turtles work that we could be looking out for?
Yes.
Yes, we do. I think I don't know. I mean,
almost as if he knew that was coming.
I think we're allowed to say, like, we really wanted to make sure we got to put another stamp down on this series. When we found out the 150 would in fact be the final issue, we through a lucky set of circumstances, we were able to similar to the 140, we were able to make that happen, partnering with a friend of ours, and just I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're doing something a little bit different, and it's a lot of characters. It's a lot of activity. It's a lot of teeth to draw, and without spoiling too much, it's going to be a pretty cool piece. And I'm making it actually in the kind of, it's right underneath this board. It's right underneath. I'll be hopping on that when we're finished here. But it's due pretty soon, and I want to make sure Danny's got lots of time to he's really fast and good anyway. But I just want to make sure he's got lots of time, so we're not rushing towards the end, because stuff shows up and other life gets in the way, and these kind of things can happen. So, but we've got a little bit of time to do a really good job, and I think it's going to be cool. I think people are going to like it.
It's definitely it's going to be different than a lot.
It's a big book. It's a big book. Like it's like 68 pages or something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be a square bound.
So that's a big book. Actually, that makes me think. I wonder if I need to adjust my sizing a little bit to allow for the spine. I never thought of that. You know what? I can make do. I got some bleed. I'll figure it out.
That does make sense. Thinking about that when you're mentioning, because it's not flat, it's going to be
it's going to have a little extra half inch or something like that of space. That's got to be, it's got to be, make sure it's scaled out properly. I think we'll be okay though. I've got a little bit of bleed.
Issue 50
nothing
was
important to get chopped off if I have to blow it up a little bit bigger. So
So Danny, could you imagine when you started picking up that IDW TMNT #1 back in probably 2011? Could you imagine you'd be working on a cover for issue 147?
No. That's it's kind of a dream come true to be able to work on anything related to Turtles. But the working on the IDW series, and like I said, I've been a fan of it for so long that it's cool to be able to play any part in doing anything for the series. Like I told Mike before, like ever since it started, I've been buying an A and B cover of every issue. So I mean, I've got cover A and cover B, and then some of the variants for some of the issues. Other than that, but for 147 issues. So yeah.
My God, look at the
have your own variant.
Look at the hands, like just if nothing else, the hands that he did there with like the wraps and all of that. It's phenomenal.
It's awesome. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sketching with a pen right now.
I think it's pretty cool.
I never really know what I'm doing until I see it.
I thought that was so cool. I like lost my concentration. I'm like, oh my God, look at that. So
I do have a question though. I do have another question for you guys.
What you got?
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of Last Ronin 2?
Of of a Last Ronin 2. I wish, man. I'll be honest. I truly do wish that would have been fun. I would have loved to have had a chance to draw the 4 new turtles in that capacity. I'm a little. I mean, I'll be honest. I was a little surprised that no one was really interested in doing it, because my covers for Ronin, the first series, were pretty popular, I thought. But it was just the way things go. I guess sometimes the industry's changed and there's high costs involved and lots of risk involved, and so unfortunately, no, I didn't get a taste of the Last Ronin 2. I sure would have loved to have had a taste of that though, and I love the designs, and I think there's great potential for those characters.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And we'll see what happens with them for sure. But unfortunately, no Ronin for us. Maybe there'll be something down the road, though. Who knows? But they seem to be able to take this property for a little bit of a lengthy ride right now. It's going.
I thought it was going to be an ongoing series, to be honest with you, instead of a mini. But,
I think it could be, man. I think it could be, because you're going to have people, and this might be my most favorite thing about the Turtles fandom as a whole culture, is that new fans jump on all the time. And that circle gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But for some people, the Last Ronin was their first taste of the Turtles. Yeah. Now they may have already had turtles in their cells and in the plastics they've consumed in a microcellular level all their whole lives, and they might have all kinds of turtles just via osmosis in their blood already.
It's metaphysical, but
really it's for some people that Last Ronin was either their return to comics or it was their first Turtles. And I think the characters that are first introduced, and if anyone carried on and followed through with the follow-up series and then this new one, I don't know, man. It all seems like really good stuff to me, and I love the character designs, and I think there's lots of potential. I mean, look at the way the Turtles have reached so far with all their product and all the different medium and all the different worlds that you can have Turtles in video games and books and your lunchbox, everything. It's just a crazy, gigantic thing, and I think while those new characters may never catch on like the originals will, I'm sure they won't, but they're still going to be, for some people, their preferred turtle. Culture and things change, times change, and people's tastes change, and I think that maybe the design of them, maybe it is more representative in some ways of what the current fans want, or what the younger fans want. Maybe, I don't know. I'm an old fan. It's hard for me to judge, but there seems to be enough to warrant all these new Turtles and the Last Ronin things coming, and to keep on continuing. And I think more Turtles is always a good thing, right? So
I agree.
Yeah.
I like Turtles.
Yeah.
So Mike kind of has this World War Hulk vibe going on with that shoulder pauldron there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. When in doubt, just pauldron it up.
Who do you think that is with that? Because you're the artist. You're the one who gets to tell this story.
Yeah.
Turtles in there.
I don't know, man. Maybe it's just another mutant turtle. Who knows? There's a few, but it could be a
Venus.
It could be a Leonardo cosplaying as Conan or something like that.
That is sick, though.
Could be your Kirby, right?
Yeah, it could be Kirby. Sure, why not?
Could just be Venus from the Next Mutation.
Yep.
True. Yeah. She's an interesting character too. She's something.
This new one's awesome. Bonnie, aka Venus.
Yeah.
That definitely subverted a lot of expectations that people would have. They're like, oh, this is just a turtle. It'd be like, no, actually, she's part mutant frog, part turtle, all of this stuff mixed in together, and she has Donnie's old shell. What?
What?
How does that work? And then people are like, oh, I hate this new series. I'm like, are you serious? Have you read it? This is crazy.
Did Donnie upgraded his shell, I guess, and gave one to Venus? Is that what's up? Or
there's a whole thing on that. Yeah.
Yeah. See, my wife, when she crocheted, like this blanket right here that I have, it's turtle themed. So
nice.
She wanted to stop, dude. So she wanted to include all the other turtle characters in here. So of course she did like Jenica and Venus. and I can't think of the pink.
Lita.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she wanted to include all the turtles into this blanket here. Of course, the turtle shell, brown, the light brown, and all that other stuff. But, she wanted to include all the turtles in that, that have been like in the comic books, Jenica's, Venus, all of them. So
that's super cool.
Yeah, my wife, she crochets like this blanket right here. This big one is like almost like a king size, and it's turtle themed. And I got like a bunch of other ones that are turtle themed that she's crocheted for me, and it's absolutely insane. Like I got one that's like green and yellow with the brown around it, and it represents like the turtles front shell and green, So
that's sweet, man.
Look at this. This could be like the Halloween cover, like something that's so cool.
Maybe he's
I
going to
wanted
Comic-Con. Who knows?
Kind of bring us back here just to kind of what we normally go into, and we've yet to, and we're coming up on the hour mark here. Danny, we haven't asked you about one of the very important things on the show is about pizza, because we're big fans of pizza. We're Turtles fans and all that, so we like to ask, what are you putting on a pizza if you order it? What's your ideal toppings?
Wow, lots of meat. Yeah, we've got a restaurant. We've got a restaurant here in town that makes some really different pizzas, and they've got a few that they've got like a pulled pork pizza that's pretty awesome. And then they've got like a Philly cheesesteak, and then they've got one that they call the 256, which is our area code, but it's really good. It's got chicken and bacon and it's just pretty much for me it's lots of pepperoni, bacon, sausage, whatever.
Eric, this sounds like your pizza.
Yes. I mean, bacon is part of my food group. I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Can't go wrong with bacon, gravy, chocolate covered bacon, pizza. Bacon pizza, bacon wrapped pizza.
Bacon wrapped pizza. Wow. Okay. You'll have to give me the recipe for that one.
No, I'm just joking. Bacon explosion. Now that is
all right. No, that's
my first time at Granite. There's a restaurant in New Hampshire, in Manchester, right there, called The Goat, and we went in there, and they had this one dish that was just called bucket of bacon, and it was literally a bucket of bacon, like an iron bucket on the table, with bacon draped around, like filling the whole rim of the bucket is bacon just draped in, and then a pile of bacon inside the bucket, and there was some kind of like, I don't know, sweet sauce of some kind dumped all over.
Yeah.
It was mayhem and heart-stopping, and it wasn't bad, but it was afterwards you kind of feel weird, like I just ate a bucket of bacon. What kind of man am I really now? Like, I'm glad I shared that with friends, so I don't have to die with the shame alone. Like,
goes back to the hotel room and averts looking directly into the mirror out of shame.
This is it. Must avoid all mirrors. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I used to cut like 10 pounds of bacon a day at the restaurant I used to work at in Pittsburgh. And we used to have a big flat top, and it'd be completely covered in like bacon grease. That's pretty much how we get our flat top started for the burger place that I worked at. Literally 10 pounds of bacon bits, and then we would go through it every single day.
Wow, that's insane.
A lot of bacon.
Yeah, that is a lot of bacon.
But I used to take some of that bacon off, put some cheddar cheese, and just eat it like a sandwich like that with some like truffle.
I feel like I'm going to know the answer to this question, Danny, but just for posterity, we like to ask our guests this. Pineapple on pizza or no pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, I'm not a pineapple person on pizza or not on pizza. Like,
there's one for you,
Eric.
Eric.
Really care for pineapple.
Okay, all right, that's very fair. It's very fair. So while Mike finishes up his sketch, I want to make sure that we just get a chance to tell people where to go to find your stuff. I do have links they'll be provided in the show notes, but I've got you at Danny Harrell Art and Danny Harrell BigCartel.com. And of course, Mike Rooth is at Uncouth Rooth, and Mike Rooth at BigCartel.com. Any other places that you want folks to find you, to contact you, or anything else like that?
No, that's
pretty much.
Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, Instagram, and then through Big Cartel or just DaddyHarrell.com, which is just it's gonna send you to the Big Cartel site anyway. So, but yeah, that's gonna be the best places to get out with me.
So we can go there to find the next issue. Issue 3 will be of Rebel Grrrls, and then to get some news on when Rebel Grrrls 4 is coming out. Sounds like.
Yeah. Issue 3 is out. It came out a few weeks ago.
Oh, good.
But yeah, it's up on the site, and then it's at keenspotshop.com, I think is their website, and then at some online comic stores still have copies of it. But yeah, and issue 4 will be out sometime probably this summer. As soon as we get finished and can send it for the solicits, it's usually 3 months after you send it to Diamond before the issue actually comes out.
That makes sense. And about pre-ordering a copy of 150 when it's all said and done, will that be the best way to go about it? Is to go to your guys' websites?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And if you know me, on Facebook or Instagram, you can message me that way as well. I don't mind, and you can also message me right through the shop or Danny. And yeah, we've got our prices matched as best as we can, just because Danny's in the States and I'm in Canada. But people who want to save a little bit of shipping in the USA, they can get theirs from Danny, and people up here in Canada can get them from me, or vice versa, or whatever works for you. But Danny's got other awesome stuff in his shop, like his other books, and we're gonna have some more stuff soon. We're gonna have something really special to show off, and it's in very, very limited supply. This next thing that you guys are gonna see from us is in very limited supply, and it's gonna be a very rare thing. I'm gonna make sure I keep a copy myself because I don't think they're too long, because I think it's going to be cool. Where we both kind of took ourselves by surprise by it, and Danny 100% did the color on this one, and it's really, I think, a special cover. Really different, something different. I haven't done something like this. It's a little bit different for me, and it's using characters that I've always liked. That they've always kind of been around in my life in a way, one way or another. So yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
That's great. And I would like to also point out that Mike does have some awesome T-shirts available. You can see them currently on Eric and myself. You can't see that if you're listening to the audio, but Eric and I I'm wearing the black version of the T-shirt. He's got kind of like the grayish charcoal version. It's sort of a flaming, I'd say, like barbarian head.
That is my character, Uncouth Rooth. That's my character. Rooth, yeah. That's where it came from. That I added the beard as an afterthought for that T-shirt, but that character design is one that I've been working with for since about 1996, and it's a character that I started using like in wrestling video games and D&D games, and it was just a character that's kind of any place to build a character, I build that guy first, and I've got a bunch of stories for him to tell, and eventually, lots of stories ahead to do yet. But
that's awesome. I loved this design and the Kraken. I'm looking forward to when you can restock the Raven. I'll be getting that one as well.
Oh yeah. That one should be stocked up again, I think, actually. And we want to have some more T-shirts. My wife and I had a brilliant idea for a T-shirt yesterday, just walking around, and we both started laughing our heads off. And I don't want to spoil what it is because it's really funny, but we thought it was funny. People might just be like, "What?" But we're gonna make a T-shirt with that too, and it'll be fun. We got a couple of cool ideas. I want to definitely. It was really cool yesterday because we were debuting the 147 at that shop, but Erica was also debuting a bunch of her prints.
Cool.
Because my wife's like a brilliant illustrator as well as a jeweler and a designer and a copywriter and a dancer and all these other things that she does. But her prints were kind of a hit yesterday. So I'd like to do a variant cover with Erica sometime. Actually, I think Erica would do a pretty neat take on the two.
That would be awesome.
She actually did a variant cover for Aftershock with me ages ago for the comic book. They only printed 75 copies of it too, and it's super hard to find. It was for the comic book way back. It was a Justin Jordan comic. And I did a variant cover, and Erica did a super weird limited edition one. And she was like, it was just a job, whatever. Like, it was a big deal. I spent 20 years trying to find work in comics, and she just walks in on her first day, does a cover, and it's like, yeah, her calendars are the best. Thank you. I saw that comment. Yeah, her calendars are wicked. And she's honestly been up kind of sad this year because she's had so much work to do with her other stuff that she wasn't able to do calendars this year. And it's the first year she's missed in about 5 or 6 years. I know it bugs her, but she's got a bunch of cool new designs in mind, and she's been doing these prints in the meantime. So you'll be able to go to her site pretty soon and get prints as well. They come little matted prints. They're beautiful. They come with a little mat, and they're all wrapped up nice. And some come with a poem. And yeah, it's just going to be a really cool thing. We're branching out a little bit to try some stuff with our art and you know, be in control of our situation a little bit better. You know, it's been a weird year. We've had lots of cool jobs. I've had the opportunity to work on a lot of cool projects, but the unfortunate side effect of being in this business is not everyone wants to pay you in any kind of expedient manner.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm still waiting for pay on things that I've done, like, you know, months ago, and it makes it a tricky way to move forward. But yeah, especially when you want to start doing variant covers and you're fronting all the time and cost yourself, you know, I wouldn't be able to do these things without Danny. And I think we got some pretty cool stuff that's people are going to love coming out in the next little while. I like working with him. It's been going easy. He makes my job of finishing artwork, and you know, he brings a lot of life to what I do. And I think it's a pretty good matchup of stuff. So we got some stuff.
You guys killed it on that 147. So I'm looking forward to the 150.
Yeah, you guys are like a well-oiled machine. Just saying.
I appreciate that, man.
Thanks, dude.
That's great. Thank you to the listeners and commenters. I saw it on their last ones were just from Facebook user. Can't see who you are, but thank you very much. Hi. Sorry, we can't see your name, but thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure that you check out and support the artists that you like, right? So you can check out their websites. I'll say them again: DannyHarrellArt.com, Danny Harrell at .bigcartel.com, uncouthruth.com. Those are on Instagram, and it's MikeRooth.bigcartel.com. So
that's right. Yep.
You can check us out, epictalesfromthesewers.com, to check out old episodes. If you like The Last Ronin, you can listen to our Last Ronin episode where we actually read through with voice characterizations. So
no kidding.
Yeah, absolutely. I do all the voices, so you can check that out. Eric and I, we talk about video games, we talk about pizza, all kinds of great stuff with wonderful guests like these two guys. Go back and check out those episodes too. epictalesfromthesewers.com. Eric, you got anything to close us out here?
No, it's always just a pleasure sitting down talking to our guests and all that stuff. You know, especially my buddy Mike Rooth and new buddy Danny over here too. So.
Yeah.
You know,
we got to get Danny one of these shirts so he doesn't look out of place. That's good.
maybe Danny and I have a couple of shirts. Who knows? Granite's in September.
Yep.
And depending on how the next few months go with the different projects we have in mind, you know, you might see a little sneak peek at the thing that we're working on at Granite. And if we're gonna have a sneak peek, we might as well have some cool swag too. So
yeah. Absolutely.
We'll figure out something. We're going to have some cool stuff at Granite. Granite might be one of the only shows, unfortunately, in the U.S. that I do next year. I might be doing Rose City in Oregon, as well, in Portland, Oregon. But I will be I'll definitely be at Granite. Granite's one. I'm hoping Erica can come with me this time. But if she can't, we're still going to. It's the 40th anniversary, man. You know, just getting to hang out for 5 or 10 minutes with Steve Levine, like, was just so awesome. And then to have him walk Peter to my table after everything was just like, I can't even tell you guys, man. It was hard to see the edges of that. It was so awesome and big for me.
Having a conversation about how him and Peter and Ryan Brown and all that were playing Mother by Danzig with Steve singing it put a visual into my head that I just and now I'm like, I need to get this man a microphone. You know,
man,
that's the greatest.
Awesome.
It's like I never would have known that. I never would have had that experience if we weren't, like there doing it. And I mean, I highly urge any listeners, get to Granite State Comic-Con in Manchester, New Hampshire. At I think the 25th or 26th or something of September or anything, 2024. Check it out.
Yeah.
But with that, we'll let you go. For all the listeners, we'll be back with a pizza recipe. For everyone watching on YouTube, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. We have very active lifestyles. It's not all wandering the countryside aimlessly or scaring passing motorists. And we all love a good cup of joe. And there's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. Bold, robust, delicious. It's coffee that can wake the dead. With over a dozen different roasts and flavors, Deadly Grounds can satisfy the most finicky of coffee addicts. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
It's pizza time.
And now, in a segment that we call Pizza Time, where we discuss any Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle or pizza-related food, I give you Pizza Time.
And your pizza time of the day is Slice of the Action. Makes about 4 servings. Wait a minute. Pizza with no crust? This really must be more like a fruit salad with pizza attitude. If you want to kick up the wow factor, throw in watermelon rounds on the grill for a few more minutes before topping. Ingredients: 1 large seedless watermelon, fine sea salt, 1/2 cup chopped unsalted pistachio nuts, 1/3 cup fresh pomegranate Arles, 1 cup fresh raspberries, balsamic vinegar, 4 teaspoons of chopped fresh mint. Instructions: cut 4 1-inch rounds from the widest part of the watermelon. Reserve the rest of the watermelon for another use. Step 2. Place the watermelon rounds on a large cutting board and season each with a small pinch of salt. Step 3. Top the pizzas with the pistachios, pomegranate, and raspberries, and then drizzle each with balsamic vinegar. Step 4. Finish with a sprinkle of mint. Slice and serve, dudes. And that is your pizza time of the day. Slice of the action.
Cowabunga, dudes! Thank you for listening to the Epic Tales from the Sewers podcast. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. This podcast has no affiliation with Eastman, Laird, Mirage Studios, IDW Studios, Archie Comics, or Nickelodeon Studios. This podcast is a member of the Dorkening Podcast Network. Check out thedorkening.com for other podcasts. Epic Tales from the Sewers is recorded by Justin Cooper and Eric Will. Listeners, this is the Generation Playlist Podcast, a podcast about music where we are your guides through a particular group or artist.
We talk about the music, and then we make a customized playlist to share with you, our listeners. And you can check us out wherever you listen to podcasts and find our playlists on Spotify.
It took me 10 years to make the perfect man cave.
And then we took it over. And we made it into the multiversal chamber.
Then I started my own podcast.
And we took that over too. And we're the co-hosts, the Multiverse Kids.
Yeah, and I'm the dad, the geeky dad. And every week, what?
We review the movies, shows, and books, games, and toys.
Yeah, and sometimes we even have a special guest. So, join us every week on the Geeky Dad Podcast.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Redoctopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite seems trying to say is that on Retro Redoctopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh. And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Door King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Redoctopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.